Salam alaikum alaikum salam. This is Tata Matamba. Today we're doing a video on signs and symbols in Palo Mayombe. Many people know it as Patipembas. I'm not planning for this to be a very long video, but there's a lot of knowledge on Patipembas. Some of the knowledge that I'm going to be speaking about has to do with personal experience, information that my godfather taught me, and also certain art historians like Barbaro Martinez, some of his publications, and some of Robert Farris Thompson. These are historians, anthropologists, and people who actually have PhDs, and this is what they do for a living. They study these cultures and these arts. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the Bantu, Bidimbu, and Bisinsu. These symbols and codes used in the Congo graphic writing embodies pictograms and ideograms and cosmograms, visual signs that describe an idea or mental images, a depicted object, the cosmology, and a perspective of life. So these have to do with more in-depth concepts, and all of this was within their culture, within the Bantu culture. And that's how they call what we call Patipembas. They call that Bidimbu and Bisinsu, and there was actual Ngangas who had that knowledge, and there was actual other professions outside of the traditional healing factor, like it had to do with Mbongi, like the government and the politics of that community. To acquire vast amounts of knowledge on the Congo graphic writing, you are required to be a member of the initiated society. There was an actual profession who understood within depth the Congo graphic writing, which the name was Nganga Nsonsi or Nganga Nkondi, a priest of the notebooks within the religious institution like Lemba or Kimpasi or Nkimba, which had to do more with the art of self-healing, the traditional doctor within that community. In the political and social matters, a na maloko is tasked with keeping the community's records and government decisions and agreement. So you have to separate these two professions. The same thing as initiations. There was an initiation when you were gonna go from being a young man or a young boy to a man, and then there is the initiation where you were actually going to be initiated to understand the art of self-healing or be part of these secret societies or religious institutions. So you got to differentiate these things. So now in Cuba, the spiritual symbols and signs, these are words for them, like many people know it, like Patipemba, Dimangas, Ngango, Fimbas. They have many names, but most people are going to know it as Patipembas. I think Ngango has to do more with Abakwa and that religious society. So many people know there's a lot of different dialects and language, but most people are going to know it by Patipembas. Patipembas are used to represent and call forth spiritual forces, also to communicate and instruct ancestral forces and simplify divination. These symbols and signs are sometimes a sello, a stamp, or a seal representing a specific feeling or idea. For example, a name, a certain spirit, a force of nature, instructions, or even an experience. Kind of like the same way you seal off a certain message or a certain experience or certain feelings inside of an actual mail, like a letter, and you stamp it, and you write, and then you mail it off, and it carries that information. It's the same way the Patipemba, or that spiritual sign or symbol, carries information to the other side, to Kumpemba. So there's very vast amounts of knowledge on on that and the specific ways that you can do it. But most Patipembas um, have a sello, a stamp or a seal. Many of them represent that, a stamp or seal or an identity to transmit these things. And each branch has their own, each house has their own, and even within the members within each in Sokongo, right, or each kanda, each community has its own filmas. Initiations has to do with filmas. Everything has to do with patipembas. Many things have to do with las patipembas. Um, so there's a lot of vast knowledge. I can't go within the depths, obviously, because you have to be initiated. And every house is different too. Every house is different, so we have to respect all the lineages. Now, how patipembas are used. Patipembas are mostly drawn in chalk, depending the purpose of the symbol, and all that can vary. Also, many tata use fula, gunpowder, to activate the fima. And what I mean by activate is to set it in motion, not just to activate it in the sense, because there's many ways you can activate a fima, not just with gunpowder. I think just the gunpowder is to set it in motion or send out the information, and all that has to do with scrolls of time, and put certain events or instructions for those spirits to put within the scrolls of time, or to call down certain nkishis, or what we call in Cuba impungos, certain forces, to bring them there in the room or wherever you're at in the forest, in the river, wherever you're at. And you can draw it in chalk. Most of them are going to be drawn in chalk. Some can be drawn with mbongi, which is also the coal, a piece of coal, so it'll be dark, or different other colors like the gula, or like the red brick that you can draw frimas with that, and all that has a purpose behind it. And you don't have to use gunpowder. You can use sulfur. You can use alcohol. You can use many things to ignite, or activate la firma. So let's go ahead and get into some pictures. So here are some, some simple patipembas. These are all these patipembas, and all these pictures are offline. I don't take any pictures or video of my things. I would never do that. And I'll also recommend you guys to do that also, because within the tradition, things are always kept inside of closed doors. But these are just simple patipembas, that they're offline. Every house has specific ones, and most of the time the spirits give them away. Here's a picture of, somebody put a patipemba on the floor, and I'm pretty sure that's gunpowder, and they're going to set things into motion, or whatever purpose they did that for. You can actually read them. There's a way of reading them, like linear, and there's a whole bunch of ways of reading a patipemba to truly understand, and it has to do with the bakunfula. Or the talanquera also has to know that stuff. It all depends. Each house gives different responsibilities. But here, this is another Munanso Congo that has patipembas on the floor in different places. All of that mean things. Everything means things. Here's another picture that's offline that you can see a tablero for divination, and those sigils call down or mean things or represent stuff, ideas or spirits, so it can help them out with divination. This is a female every, offline. Also, all these females are offline, and I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys with some advice, at least. If you're a tata or a yaya or any of that stuff, when you get initiated, they give you sigils, individual sigils that represent you in the spiritual realm. Make sure you don't let anybody, take pictures or post it online or give that to people. Same thing as the sigils when you're a tata, for your inkisis, for your rituals, all that stuff, needs to be kept within closed doors. And another thing, I highly recommend, if you're not initiated and you don't know what you're doing, don't grab pictures offline and put them down and call forces and do that, because no tiene licencia. And if you're not initiated, you don't have a name, you don't have these things, and it can have negative effects in your life. So you have to take this very serious. I've also gone to many houses, and they have a bunch of females all over the place, and you have to be very careful, all that stuff, where you put la fema, what you do, all of that. You have to take these things serious, because all of that ripples, all of that opens up, let's say, certain portals or certain talancas, doors, for things to come in and out. So you have to take these things very serious. I hope you guys understand, what Patipembas are now. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I'm going to leave you guys with Nsinga Tikana Ninga Katu Bukako. Always uphold the tradition. Always make the right decisions for the tradition. Never cut the Nsinga Tikana, that biogenetic rope. Always reinforce it. Thank you guys for your time. Salam alaikum. Malaikum salam.